Hello and welcome to Billy Ho's Sports. It's a special Super Bowl LIX celebration. We're going to be dropping the props. So we're going to talk some prop bets mostly in this show. We'll mention some DFS plays for DraftKings. That's Showdown Captain Mode. Yes, there is a Billy Ho contest for it. I'll put the link in the description. So make sure you join up so we can beef that contest up a little bit, have some fun. Uh, I have a Discord with all kinds of different sports in it. So we can talk Super Bowl props. I got a thread opened up already, got some good responses from. Obviously the PGA is what drives the Discord to begin with, because that's where it all started years ago when I named it Billy Ho's Flophouse. So uh, we'll also there's MMA, NBA, other people get in there and just do whatever you want to do. It's a free Discord. You can pretty much do whatever you want. Not a whole lot of moderation, but be careful because I'll bust your butt if you're disrespectful. So you could just put a comment in the comments and say, "Hey, I'd like to jump in there. I do have a horse racing thread." So we'll start doing that kind of thing. But this year it's the epic Super Bowl LIX, and we've got a couple of prime time horses setting us set up. Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, the super horse who's kind of like Justify, the Triple Crown winner. And then you got Jalen Hurts, who's the up and coming Sierra Leone classic type horse. And yes, you guessed it. I am from Louisville, home of the Kentucky Derby. The first Saturday in May will be Kentucky Derby 151. If you're a fan of the Triple Crown, Breeders' Cup, all the big stakes racing over the summer that we have, don't go any further. Subscribe and like right now. I'm going to have all that content. Horse racing is my first passion. So we're going to get into this Super Bowl prop betting right now. And we're going to go ahead and get into outlandish picks. So anyway, my first advice is for like your casual bettors, all the pros and the seasoned bettors know this already. But if you're just somebody who, we just got sports betting here in Kentucky. It hadn't been that long, barely a year or two, a year and a half, I think, whatever. Anyway, multiple betting sites are offering promo codes. Get that free money. Get your promo code. Sign up with a website. Get that matching discount. Obviously, look for profit boosts. You're going to get free money, profit boosts, and free plays and picks from all kinds of websites. Risk-free bets, all that. Also look for sites that offer free trials. I got a free 7-day trial from Odd Shopper, so that's going to help me find some bets this weekend, I think. And I believe SB75 is the promo code to get the following month for $25. So you can stick around for, if you like NBA or PGA or whatever for Odd Shoppers. So here we go. These following takes are how I feel about Super Bowl 49. I just discovered actually this DK squares any quarter where the 100 square thing where you draw the numbers and each ending score of each team, you line it up, and whoever has that square wins the pot for that quarter. Well, you got 4 quarters and you can choose your number instead of having it like randomly drawn. You can choose zero zeros. You could go all the way down here to the obscure ones, which are like 100 to 1, like 5 5. You never know. I mean, there could be a 25 15. I mean, with safeties and 2-point conversions and going forward on fourth down and the new ways of doing stuff, missed extra points always in there too. Anything can happen. So why not plunk a two? I like the Eagles 5-9 is not bad. Uh, for 80. The 80s look pretty good actually. The 9 5s and the 5 9s, either way you want to slice it. A 9 8's not terrible. I mean, all these are like 70, 60 to 1. I mean, you could just plunk down like a dollar on each one of these going down through here. And if you hit one out of 10, you're going to win money, or something like that. So that might be what I do there. Maybe just plunk $1 on a whole bunch of them and then see what we got. So that's the first fun one I thought of. And of course, everybody loves touchdowns. And we have TD props over here. And so let's go to TD scores. You could just so you have something to look at. And I also have underdog up too with different picks and stuff. Underdogs pretty cool. I'm gonna put some money in this time around and just bet a bunch of just small. I mean, you can shoot the moon if you want to, but the odds of you hitting a 100 to 1 prop, a 10 leg prop is hard enough. So I'm gonna try to stick within the 2 to 5 range. And you do have your, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna use this gimme pick from Kelsey. So that's over 0.5 yards. So add that to any parlay, it's gonna bump it up just a hair. So first TD, I think was an interesting one. First TD score, but I didn't like any of the odds. I just the first TD, I feel like you should be rewarded with a boost. I mean, minus 195 and minus 120. I mean, the minus 120 on anytime TD for Hertz, not bad because we know as soon as if they get anything inside the 5 yard line and it's inside of third down, it's tush push. They're going to run it twice if they can, and especially if it's like at the 2 yard line, you get them inside the 2 or 3 yard line, and it's just tush push till they get it in. Period. There's no other play to be ran, so Hurts' likelihood of an anytime touchdown greatly increased. Barkley's greatly decreased for that exact reason. So why would you bet uh, any of these terrible odds plus 450 to be the first TD scorer, but in a minus 195 worse than Hurts? No thanks there. So then you have some plus guys. Uh, I don't mind AJ Brown. I'd like to get at least 20 to 1 Goddard maybe, but I probably won't do first TD. Obviously, there's a dozen people with a legit shot. You got Hurts, Hunt. Cream Hunt's not bad, not a bad choice. But there is one that I wanted to bring up, and you'll hear all about him. Kenneth Gainwell. So if you have a scenario like this, Barkley's breaking off those long runs, right? He's gotten one for 60 and 70 yards and a lot multiple times in the last half a dozen games, including playoffs. So what do you say? Barkley breaks off a long run and then gets brought down or run out of bounds at like the 7 or the 8 yard line. So, all right, it's first and goal from the 8. Well, you don't have the tush push. It's too far away, right? So, Barkley's going to be coming out for a play, at least a play to catch his breath. So, in comes Gainwell, and he gets a pitch out or a handoff, and he takes it to the house from 7 or 8 yards out for the first touchdown at 75 to 1. Would be worth a couple dollars, but that's just a scenario I thought of. And I'm not rooting for this at all, but this other one is interesting enough to me. Is say Barkley somehow gets knocked out of the game for some reason, he takes a hit to the head, he has to go to the medical tent or something weird, and then you get a Gainwell touchdown, or then you're on the board, even if it's not the first touchdown. What if he gets 2 touchdowns? 170 to 1 for 2 TD gain. If he's going to be healthy and pass concussion protocol, he's liable to get, I mean, he's going to spell Barkley, obviously. I don't know that he comes in actually on third downs. I mean, he will, but he's going to come in on any down to spell Barkley. So he's probably going to get a dozen or more snaps in this game. So that gives him a chance. But you're really, if you're banking on the 2+ touchdowns, you're banking on a Barkley injury. You're banking on him getting all the snaps from the second quarter on or something crazy. So, like I said, anytime TD Hurts, 2+ TDs. I would try Gainwell at 170 just for $1 or $2 just to see what happens. But the 2+ TDs, Hurts, Barkley, AJ Brown, I think Xavier Worthy, a big, and obviously Kelsey's a big candidate. So is Hunt. There are a ton of guys out there, but the main cogs are the guys. I mean, I wouldn't be betting Noah Gray. Of course, I mean, you can't, I mean, Noah Gray, 55 to 1, you're getting 170 on Gainwell. So I anticipate Noah Gray playing a lot more, but he's not going to be playing in the 11 personnel. He's going to be playing in the 12 personnel. So we'll see what we got going on there. So anyway, I'm probably in the minority on this, but we'll go look at Barkley's stats real quick. And that's uh I'm kind of in the ballpark of the unders on Barkley. 114.5, I'd go lower on that rushing. Especially lower on the rushing and receiving, 129.5. Basically what it amounts to, if he breaks another 60 yarder, you're probably done, right? But if he doesn't break a long one, he doesn't tend to crack 100 yards all that often. And in a very hotly contested, some people think this is going under the total. So if it's a grinded out game, and say the Chiefs are ahead toward the end, I mean, you can't be running the ball with Barkley to get him up over 100. Gainwell is going to get a lot of love. I think Gainwell could catch. You could do Gainwell numbers on receptions and all that kind of stuff if you think the Chiefs are going to be in a position playing from ahead, running clock late. So let's go ahead and spill the beans. I don't think so. Although I do have conflicting reports. It's kind of weird. I need to tell myself, if you think the Eagles are going to win by margin, Barkley's going to have a big game. He's going to need to, right? So I don't know if I'm probably contradicting myself if I like Barkley unders, but I just think the Eagles can throw the ball. I mean, you got Devontae Smith, obviously AJ Brown, then you've got Goddard, and then you got a couple of ancillary characters. Jahan Dotson, I wouldn't take any chances on him. Although if it's point 0.5 receptions, I'd take the over. He's liable to catch one. He caught a touchdown already. I mean, he's got 2 targets in the red zone, not just that one random touchdown. So some kind of random bailout where nobody's there, he could easily get the ball. And he's been with the team long enough. He's got an extra week of practice. He might even get a few more snaps for all we know. So I don't know, but I think the Eagles are going to win by margin. Comfortable 2-score game, like a 8-12. The Eagles D is that good. And this is my hot take. Well, not a hot take, but I think the Chiefs are going to have to dial up the trickery. They're known for it. He's going to have an extra week. Andy Reid will have some calls. I guarantee you 2 of the 4 is going to happen. Flea flicker, fake punt, double reverse, hook and ladder. 2 of those 4. If I could prop that, I'd jump on it, because I do think I do think they fake punt. That's one that's really high level of possibility. And then obviously the double reverse, uh, something like that, or an end around, like a fancy end around Xavier Worthy. The flea flicker, Kelsey can throw it. Uh, some. So anyway, moving on to defensive players. Then you obviously have guys like the defensive props for sacks and whatnot. And I wasn't digging these at first, but it 1+ is still over 0.5. It's just you don't get the push if they just get sacks are different, because you can get a half a sack, right? You can't score a half a touchdown. You can't kick a half a field goal or anything like that. And, half yards, they round up or down or whatever they do there. So there's no 0.5 yardage, but there is 0.5 sacks. So the plus ones on this, if you're going to do like Chris Jones, I really like, but I'll do the over 0.5 on underdog. And then the other one, everybody seems to really love Jalen Carter. He's a beast on the inside. Karlaftis is a beast. But definitely, if I'm doing anybody, the first click is Chris Jones. Then it's probably Jalen Carter. Then it's Karlaftis. You do have guys down here that are kind of weird. Milton Williams has had some sacks, so I don't know if I'd be going +2, but there are some guys. I do think there will be, and don't think that's Jalen Hunt or Jalen Hurts. Jalix Hunt. That's a made up name. That's in there to throw you off. So pay attention to that. Anyway, Chiefs receivers, and there are some definite ones like Worthy. I like, actually, this is over 6.5 rushing yards for Worthy. I also like the attempts over 1.5. I think he'll get 2 runs, like I just said, end around or double reverse type stuff, or he could just take an inside handoff or something like that. Anyway, over 5.5 receptions, a little bit pushing it, but 8.5 yards rush or 8.5 yards receiving in the first quarter. I think if they want to get him the ball quickly, I mean, he can get 8.5 yards in one catch, but he could have 2 or 3 catches in the first quarter. So if you believe he's going to do well, 8.5 yards first quarter plus the over 5.5 receptions would work for him. Also the 1.5 attempts. If you think he's going to do some rushing, 6.5 yards rushing is all you need. So that's also one that I would look into. But then you have the receivers. There's 2 different Chiefs receivers, and it's Juju and it's D Hop. Well, D Hop, everybody's talking about D Hop not playing a lot, but they're both over 1.5 receptions. So Juju, I think, will get the over receptions. But if they're forced to play 2 tight ends with Noah Gray, and then that means Juju's not going to get as many snaps because I think it's Worthy and Hollywood Brown. So Hollywood Brown, you could do overs with him, things of that nature. Interesting stuff like that. I gotta go with the unders, like running backs, overs on Hunt, unders on Pacheco. I just don't think that you're gonna get much love. Well, if the trend continues, Pacheco had just 5 carries in each playoff game and looked ineffective. So he might still not be 100%. Hunt has been the opposite. Hunt can go over the 11 attempts. Hunt anytime TD. Under 6.5 attempts for Pacheco. Under 25 yards rushing. Also, that's the Hunt over 40 yards is a little risky given my thoughts on the game. But if you believe the Chiefs are going to win this, the over 40 is fine. Josh Jacobs had 81 yards. Karen Williams for the Rams had over 100 in the divisional games. So continuing on with the trends, AJ Brown is going to be a big trend for me. I think he goes over. You have like over 5 receptions. That's close, but 70 yards receiving, I think I'll take that. The fantasy points, I would go higher than that because I think he's going to score a touchdown. So if he's going to get 70 yards, if he goes 5 for 70, that's already your fantasy points. So if you think either of these two hit, take the higher on the fantasy points. And I don't know exactly. Here's your fantasy points. So if he scores a receiving touchdown, then you got 0.5 per reception. So not too bad there. You receiving yards obviously 0.1, but his receiving yards alone should cover half of that 12. He should get 60, and then 3 or 4 catches gets him almost to 10. So he would need, if you think he's going to end up on the low end, he would need to score to hit that number. But I think he's going to be like 8 catches for like 127 yards. So, especially if you think that there's 2 ways this can go. Either the Eagles are chasing or they are just dominating through the air because they won't quit on you. If it's working, if AJ Brown's getting open at will and Devontae Smith is running rough shot and you got just guys, they'll just keep throwing it until you stop them. So 2+ TDs for AJ Brown, I think is 14-1. The first TD is 13-1. I did mention the Worthy overs. The longest reception is over 21 yards. You know how fast Worthy is. He could take a 2-yard dump off and get that 21 yards quite easily. So over 5, I think receptions was at alt line. And I think the alt line, if you like his alt line, 80 is plus 236. So 80 plus. I don't think that Worthy can get 100, but I bet he could get over 60 or 70. So, and I think it's like 50 and change is his number. So going with that. Goddard numbers are getting a little bit too high for me. So we're going to take a quick look at the Goddard numbers. And this is just from Underdog itself. I mean, it's obviously different. Underdog's going to be pushing you a little harder on some of these and not as hard on others. So it's just like what you feel comfortable with. Like 4.5 receptions. I mean, if he's looking to catch 5 to 7 balls for over 60 yards, that's like an 80 percentile type of a ceiling game. You just throw in a touchdown and he's got a ceiling game. So I can't bank on Goddard. I mean, if it was 3.5 receptions, a little different. The receiving yards, maybe first half receiving yards or something. I don't know, or second half receiving yards, something, maybe something in game. I don't like the longest reception, but I thought the total receiving yards was on here somewhere. Don't see it actually. So anyway, it's somewhere around the 50 to 60 yard range, and I don't like that. I mean, he could have 3 for 30, or he could have, just some uh like I think that the wide receivers are going to be running well. So I don't know that they're going to need to be taking any outlets with him. So special teams, field goals. Uh I forget what we were looking at. Oh yeah, let's do this. I want to show you the Harrison, like Buttaker. So Buttaker, I like the over 1.5 field goals for Buttaker because the Chiefs will take a field goal on a fourth down, fourth and they'll take the points. A lot of times, if they're like on the 30-yard line and it's 4th and 5, they're going to kick the field goal because they just believe that points are Andy Reid's old school like that. Now, if they're inside the 20, they may be more likely to go for it. The longest field goal made on DraftKings is over 47 and a half. They're in a dome, so I'd take a shot on that one. I think that's like minus 110 or something like that. Or it's not a bad number, actually. Buttaker over 1.5 field goals, like I said. Elliott to kick a 50+ yard field goal is 4-1. Elliott 3+ field goals is another one that I might look at DraftKings, but this is Buttaker. His longest field goal, I think, I wouldn't mind taking a chance on. His longest field goal is like 44 and a half. So I think he could kick one of these field goals is going to be somewhere around there. The Chiefs are notorious for getting that last minute field goal. Like they could drive down and kick a field goal at halftime. The Eagles are notorious for it too. They like to steal those extra 3 points at the end of the game or at the end of the half. So that's something else I'm interested in. So anyway, we're going to do a little rapid fire to close it out before I give my hot sizzle prop of the day. So let's get it done. Okay, the hot take is I am taking Eagles on the alternate lines of from -5.5 up to -9.5. So different parlays and whatever. I like I said previously, I think that they win. I think they can win by double figures, but I think that they can win by that two-score margin, which would be 9 to 10 to 12, somewhere in that range. So that's why I hedge myself with the 5.5 up to 9.5, just in case 5.5 is on the low end, just in case it's a 31-27 type or 31, what is that? 31-24, something in that range. Anyway, people are they from what I hear, people are just saying basically uh, the Eagles are the better team. So they're not overlooking the better team here. They just believe in Mahomes. By hook or by crook, Mahomes gets it done somehow, some way with the calls going their way, whatever. The powers that be shifted. They wanted to see Taylor Swift in the out in midfield, all that stuff. But I think the Eagles win, and they win fair and square by a comfortable margin. Super Bowl MVP is going to be Jalen Hurts. So yes, and I do admit, obviously QB and coach, the edge goes to the Chiefs, but the Eagles I think can move the ball through the air to score a lot. So if they don't just go try to ground and pound with Barkley the whole game, I think they could get out and they could make this game 17-3 real quick. So the Chiefs, I don't believe, have the firepower. If they do get down by double digits, say they're down by double digits at halftime, I don't think they have the firepower to keep up. I harken back to the 2018 Super Bowl where the Eagles were underdogs against the Patriots, and they came out and put up some mad points. And that's this Eagles team's nowhere near as good. They won 41-33 to that game, so that's kind of a score. 41-33 is only 8 points. So I want to have that middling range of 5.5 up. So Chiefs D is formidable, but so is the Eagles D. I think pass rush will have Mahomes scrambling. Maybe he makes some. Oh, he's obviously going to make plays with his legs. So you can do overs on like the longest rush on Mahomes over whatever it is, 15 yards, or I don't know what it is. But his rushing props should be pretty fair. A rushing touchdown's not out of the question either for him. But ultimately, I think he does throw one interception. I think he makes a mistake that costs him. Sometimes he's gotten away with it before where he's overthrown guys or he's fumbled the ball and they've gotten a recovery. So I'm looking at like a 38-24 or 34-23 final score in favor of the Eagles. So that's all I have for this video. I wish you the very best of luck. Sub and like. Check out the awesome Derby content. We'll see you soon.